UFO friend. Hello, it's Matt O'Leary, and today it's a review of the new Big Thief album, the third album from these guys. It's called U.F.O.F. Big Thief are a Brooklyn folk rock quartet, pretty run-of-the-mill in terms of their instrumental lineup. You know, you got your bass, you got your drums, you got your guitar, you got your other guitar. But not at all typical in terms of their magisterial command over songwriting, led by the indomitable, rare talent that is Adrienne Lenker. Lenker is one of those really authentic artists that makes you feel like she probably sacrificed in like one or two other areas of life just because of how good she really is. That tortured artist thing is definitely a cliche, but you know what I mean. You probably had someone like this at your high school. Someone you think you could probably blow over on stage with a sneeze. I don't want to make you think that Lenker's like on the brink of a mental breakdown or something. She probably, in order to have a band like this, you gotta have your life pretty well together. Big Thief came through with their debut in 2016 called Masterpiece with a more typical indie rock aesthetic. It was a very rugged album. Masterpiece was a bit like Pine Grove in its alt-country approach to things, with kind of a rabidness to the guitar tone, you know, foam coming out of its mouth. The songs were deep and nuanced, but in my opinion, the backing trio of the band didn't really amplify what Lenker was already doing, you know, with her very delicate voice, this brilliant finger-picked guitar, you know. I feel like they were just trying to force the two together and force this connection when it really wasn't that necessary. But the next year, they did it for me with Capacity, which was much gentler and more subdued. And this album is a plane ride for me. When my wife and I went to Denmark, I listened to it for the first time. And you know, a plane ride is a pretty sterile, boring experience. You know, you're just waiting. You're not expressing yourself. There's nothing really happening. But this album made it come back to me. All the memories in video format, not like kind of these snapshots. The intricate guitar work on Great White Shark, or my personal favorite, Haley, or the hooks on Mythological Beauty or Shark Smile. It's an album just swollen with human admiration, with this deep emotional resonance. But now we're on to U.F.O.F, which is still intimately connected with the human experience, but now drawn to something a little more supernatural. And again, Lenker uses a lot of names in her songs, like Jody and Caroline and Jenny and Betsy. I feel like to draw a distance between her own experience and that of the characters. You know, she's choosing to be the conduit rather than the central character. And it's these archetypal stories that make Big Thief instantly relatable. The freewheeling, reckless love in Betsy, or the dark captivity brought on by Jenny's vacant gaze, made even creepier by that ghostly head voice. The pains of interpersonal relationships continue to be one of the main focuses, one of the main themes for Big Thief, like the allusions to sexual violence on From. But Lenker really seems to lean into these unpleasant feelings. Not abuse, but just unpleasantness. She really celebrates them as, I guess, just better than feeling nothing. On Contact, she even uses her blood-curdling anguish scream as the moment of contact, you know, the moment where she's breaking out of this dazed state and into a state of more keen awareness. If you've seen her perform at all, you know that scream is really her catharsis. It's her release. The title track is one of my favorite songs of the year, no doubt, gliding from luscious chord to chord with a chorus that hits like the first step into a warm bath. These cyclical finger-picked guitars just swarm you and kind of go from this uncertainty and a little menace to just a big old soft embrace. The songs Cattails and Orange strut more a Big Thief's penchant for down-home country. Cattails is such a simple song, and they wrote it just hours before recording. And while Lenker's voice does vary quite a bit from song to song, you know, across the whole album, when it comes to one song, it can get a little bit samey as it goes. That rampant, kind of fragile vibrato on Orange, for instance, can get a little tedious. But it's almost a completely different voice on the song Betsy, which just dips and dives deep into uncharted territory, probably Lenker's deepest recorded voice ever. She's flirting with low B's, like, come on. I mean, let me just Yeah. Okay, that's low for me. Come on. That guitar line, when she hits those low notes. There were a number of songs on Capacity with these very strange beats and odd, deceptive time shifts, and I'm a little bummed that a little bit more of that didn't show up on this album. The song Strange is an exception, though, with this odd, interesting, rattling snare sound and definitely the peppiest groove on the album. It's a really nice reprieve from all the melancholy and all the intensity. And along with all these odd percussive sounds, I love that weird bass solo at the end with the heavenly background vocals. It's a moment of resplendent beauty and probably my second favorite track. But the real triumph of this album, and I think really all of Big Thief's career, is just the deep respect for each other's ideas, the openness to each other's ideas that's always been so apparent. And that's often what makes the songs such unassuming beauties. Just, no one's on an ego trip. You know, they're pictured here sitting in a tight-knit cluster, and that's really how I think of the band Big Thief. What's that thing with the steeple, and then you got the, I don't know, you got the people, just... Lenker just continues to drum up this subtle beauty through, at times, uncomfortably descriptive narratives. But it never becomes too transparent, you know, there's always that distance, like I said, and she maintains that artful opaqueness that really just draws you in and makes you curious, you know, that deep yearning, that just captivating fragility. I still think Capacity is my favorite from the band, but this is a very strong album. Definite recommendation. Pick it up for sure. 8 out of 10 for me. Man, this band is on the rise, I think, now. I feel like more and more people are coming to know them, but still not enough. So definitely share this album with anyone you can, and if you have any music anywhere in this realm, then please, please, please comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and as always, thank you so much for watching.